With the next patch set to drop this year's December 18th, there's going to be a new continent to explore called the Siren Isles. Along with this, we'll be able to start collecting a new currency called the Flame Blessed Iron. So in this video, we'll go about the fastest methods to farming this new currency, as well as what we can purchase with them. To start things off, there's a prerequisite in order to start collecting the currency, and the obvious one being is that we have to unlock the Siren Isles. To unlock the new continent, we first have to make our way to the Foundation Hall located in Dornegal. As soon as we enter, we'll want to talk to the NPC named Dawn, which will be on the right side of the hallway when we enter. And from her, we'll pick up the quest, The Expedition Awaits, which will prompt us to talk to Skagit, which we'll find on the east gate of Dornegal located here. Once we arrive here in the new continent, we'll continue along, and during the questline, we'll be unlocking more and more features tied to the new zone. And in total, there's going to be 12 quests in this series, starting from the quest, The Expedition Awaits, and it will end with the Uncovered Mysteries. Once we land as a PTR testing, we can start collecting the new currency from just about any mob that we come across. Naturally, while progressing in the Siren Isles, we'll be collecting this currency on the way, so we don't have to be too stingy when it comes to throwing some of the Flame Blessed Iron for story progression, like the Excavation event for example. While doing so, we'll also be unlocking more and more vendors, which is ultimately what we'll be spending these blessed iron on. Now, before we talk about the grinding methods and what we can purchase, it's important to take note that as a PTR testing, the Flame Blessed Iron is a Warband currency that's transferable, meaning if we're looking to buy out all of the vendors and even the expensive mounts, we can pull the resources to our main while we bring our alts through the relatively easy to do story and questline of the Siren Isles. That's including the introductory quests, the sides, the weeklies, and the world quests. Now, as a PTR testing, we can comfortably farm around 1,000 Flame Blessed Iron in a little over 30 minutes just by doing content or unlocking the Siren Isles in general. So from the introductory content, storyline, doing the side quests, events, weeklies, and excavation activity. With that in mind, we can look to do two methods to farm Blessed Iron on. The first method is going to be the rare hunting method. Since the trash mobs give below 5 and elites go below 20, what we'd want to aim for in general is hunting rares and the rare elites. It's also worth noting that as a PTR, the rares on the Siren Isles have a relatively short respawn timer, around 5 to 10 minutes. Realistically speaking, you can group up or solo the rares outside of the Sea Fury phase before phasing in the Sea Fury and taking out the rares inside of there. By the time we do a full rotation, the rares outside of the Sea Fury Tempest will have respawned. It'll take a little over 35-40 minutes to do a cycle, and we can easily make anywhere between 700 to 900 Flame Blessed Iron, since the rares sometimes drop 80 to 100, while some of them drop below 40. The next method up is going to be the chest hunting method. We can actively look for these Rune Storm chests. The chests themselves sometimes give 25 to 70 Blessed Iron, and upon testing on the PTR, there seems to be set respawn locations throughout the Siren Isle, but each character will have a different spawn points for each of them. As for finding these Rune Storm chests, we'll be able to tell when one is nearby through this wind indication that starts spiraling out from our character, which then blows in the direction where the hidden chest is. But in order to unlock this, we'll first have to finish the quest Uncovered Mysteries, which is part of the main story, while we're unlocking content in the Siren Isles. I'd suggest grabbing some experimental go packs from Sally Bolt Wrench, which makes traversing a lot easier, and we'll be able to buy them for 10 Blessed Iron for each stack. So as I was saying, these Rune Storm chests don't have set spawn locations, but while I was bringing my alts to the Siren Isles, some of the spawn locations did overlap while others had entirely different locations. I'll be showcasing a map with their coordinates, and I'll indicate which ones are found inside and outside of the Sea Fury Tempest phase, as well as which ones are found both in and out of that phase. A new feature added in is called Major Excavations, which will unlock after progressing enough to unlock the main central camp. Here we'll be able to contribute the newest currency to a faction of our choice. As for the factions, we'll be able to side with the dwarves, the goblins, and the Hollowfall Arathli. Each faction has their own set of rewards, but after the first time we complete it per character, subsequent completions of that specific excavation will only reward us with these crates of bygone riches, which reward us with a veteran tier gear of item level 584 and some blessed iron. And take note, once the event is activated, it will be accessible regardless of who contributed. So if somebody does a vault without you, regardless if you did 100% of the bar, you won't get the rewards for it. It does work both ways though. If you did not contribute, but you managed to tag the boss before it died, you will still be rewarded. Once we defeat the rare enemy, the excavation event will begin its 5-minute cooldown. Once that's done, we can contribute again and redo the excavation. From the bosses, we can get anywhere from 200 to 300 per kill. So since there's 3 factions we can contribute to, that's potentially 600 flame blessed iron per run, and we can do this excavation run multiple times per hour depending on how fast we can beat the rare bosses inside the cave. So I'd suggest either grouping up in 2s or 3s, since soloing them requires us to be quite geared up. During the PTR, I was able to get a little over 1,000 blessed iron in an hour. Obviously, this could have been done more efficiently if I wasn't running these events solo, but with the strong group, this could be the most profitable grinding method out of hunting rares and searching for the chests. Now, before we move on to the vendors, I wanted to offer an alternative farming method which involves us going underwater and swimming around the entire Siren Isle. Before we do this though, I'd recommend finishing the main story questline of the Siren Isle to have access to the side quest Dipping a Toe picked up from Apprentice Tanmar. Doing so will give us the boon Blessing of the Sea Dweller, which will allow us to traverse underwater a lot quicker. Once we have that, we'll have an easier time doing this optional farming method. What we'll want to do here is circle around the Siren Isle. Doesn't really matter which side of the coast we start in. And along the way, we'll be encountering these Seafarer caches, which are chests found mostly underwater or near the shores of the Siren Isle. Each of these chests can give us about 8 to 12 flame blessed iron. The good thing about these caches is that they have a respawn timer, meaning we can farm them for quite a while. Once you do an entire lap of the isle, some of them should start spawning back in. So with that in mind, we can look to incorporate this optional farming method into the other ones so we never really run out of farming sources for the flame blessed iron. Now moving on, we'll talk about the items that we can purchase as well as amount that we can get with the flame blessed iron currency. In general, we'll be able to buy cosmetics, transmogs, and catch-up gear for our alts, and these gear levels are going to be 584, so they're going to be veterans here. As a BTR, there are vendors here in the Siren Isles who sell citrine gems, so whether or not Blizzard gives them more things to sell, we don't know, but as of the time of making this video, here are the gems that they sell. From Diddy the Wrench, we'll be able to purchase the Thunder Lord's Crackling Citrine for 50 blessed iron, which is that new currency that we talked about earlier. Nearby is going to be Angorla, who we initially received our power ring from. This vendor will sell us the Wind Singer's Rune Citrine for 50 as well. Next up is Apprentice Tanmar, who sell us the Mariner's Hallowed Citrine, which is a Singing Sea Citrine for 50 blessed iron. Now keep in mind, we're not sure if these are the only gems they will sell, since that's all they have as of BTR testing. But who knows, maybe they'll add more wares to their arsenal when the patch goes live. The next vendor up is going to be Tal Jory, who is a native of the Siren Isles. They'll mainly sell us cosmetics around the theme of the weekly attackers that change on the Siren Isles. So the cosmetics are themed after pirates, the Vrykul, and the Naga. The vendor will have a total of 7 ensembles that they sell, each going for 3,000 blessed iron, while their other cosmetics cost below 350, and the cheapest item they sell is yet another citrine called the Seabed Leviathan Citrine for 50 blessed iron. The next vendor up is going to be the Earthen Dwarven Quartermaster, Argarom. This is the vendor that sells our catch-up gear, so with that in mind, when our alts go into the Siren Isles and they're under-geared, we can spare some blessed iron to gear them up so that they can take on the tough enemies around the Siren Isles. For the gear, the majority of the items are below 350 blessed iron each, so to get the full set including the necklaces, rings, and trinkets, it'll cost above 2,000 blessed iron. Now over by the mole machine, which we use to traverse between the Ringing Deeps and the Siren Isles, the vendor here is going to be the Hooded Purveyor. will be able to purchase more cosmetic items like tabards, weapons, and the backpack transmog. They have one ensemble which costs 3,000, while the rest of the items will cost below 500. The next vendor up is going to be Eilinda Hedgemeyer, which is the Arathi Expedition Quartermaster, which is located also in the hub. They will mainly sell us Arathi-themed transmogs, which include recolors of the Arathi ensemble, and they also sell Arathi-themed helmets and shoulder pieces. The vendor has two ensembles that they sell, each going for 3,000, while the rest of the gear or items will be below the price range of 350. Now, as for the last vendor, it'll be Sawazy, selling us tropical and beach transmogs, as well as another Goblin Wave Shredder mount. Aside from the obvious mount we'll want to save up for, Sawazy will be selling summer wear attire and cosmetics centered around, well, swimming clothes. The mount itself will cost about 10,000 flame blessed iron, so if you are a mount collector, it'd be advisable to save up for this, but luckily the currency is transferable between our characters, so once the patch goes live, we can look to farm flame blessed iron by unlocking the Siren Isles multiple times with our alts. While I was getting footage and gathering data for the video, I was surprised to find out that it took me a total of 4 characters to get up to 10,000 blessed iron, and that's just doing the main content. Each of them did the introductory quest line of the Siren Isles as well as the weekly quests, and that's just about an hour or 2 hours of game time, so it was relatively easy to get this amount. But yeah, these are the items in store for us when patch 11.0.7 goes live. Let me know down in the comments if you found a faster way to farm and if you think the new mount is a must-have. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.